Welcome to Reparenting Daily, your free daily guide for inner child healing and repairing the relationship with yourself. This podcast helps you establish a consistent reparenting routine and is divided into 3 sections. The first is a daily reading, the second is a discussion of that reading, followed by suggested journal prompts, and the last section is a peaceful binaural beats meditation for closing. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from whenever and wherever you're joining us. I'm so glad that you can join us for this journey of self-expansion. If this is your first time, welcome. As a celebration of completing our first full year of Reparenting Daily episodes, I've opened a free membership tier for the Patreon community so that you can access more resources and join weekly Zoom calls for free. I understand there's a lot going on in the world right now, and I know that many people are really struggling. My hope with this is to encourage others to still pick up the work of reparenting and offer a free community where people can come together and do that. I'd also like to thank all of you who've been along on the journey so far. Just as a reminder, this is a free podcast, but you can support the project by purchasing the Reparenting Daily journal, where you can follow us along all year. This 333-page journal gives you extra insight and resources for each week, and it also provides space for you to keep your notes. Another way to support the podcast is to purchase the Fairy Tales for Reparenting series, volumes 1 through 3. This collection organizes famous and obscure fairy tales from around the world into 3 phases of the hero's journey, beginning, middle, and end. And while you might think that fairy tales are for kids, I'd like to challenge you here. These stories contain profound truths and lessons carried down over millennia that we can use to integrate in our reparenting journey. It's a fun way to connect with your inner child. Each volume contains 10 fairy tales. They include an analysis section to help you dive deeper into the message, as well as journal prompts to reflect on the story's meaning for your own life. Lastly, you can also support the podcast by taking a paid Patreon subscription, purchasing the books on the website, or by donating to Buy Me a Coffee. You can find all this information on the supporters section of the website. And so, with these announcements out of the way, let's dive into today's practice. Today's reading is from Positive Psychology. We're reading the article, How to Practice Self-Compassion, 8 Tips and Techniques. Today we're going to read the section, the 8 Tips and Techniques. Because the reading is a practice, we'll skip the second section, and I encourage you to review and to work through the practice, or the 2 practices that we'll read, in your own time. Just as a reminder, the month is February, and the theme for this month is self-compassion and self-kindness. We are in the 4th and final week, February 15th until the 28th. And the theme for this week is developing a daily self-compassion practice. 8 tips and techniques for practicing self-compassion. There are lots of specific exercises available online that will help you practice self-compassion in a way that suits you. We'll cover some of these in more depth in our resource section, but most have the same general approach. Become more self-aware. Other techniques related to becoming more self-aware, techniques related to being more self-aware and tapping into your self-talk. Compared to beating ourselves up, becoming aware of our internal narrative is a positive starting point for changing our self-talk. Number 1, release statements. Use release statements. Maybe you've never been a big fan of positive affirmations. Maybe they don't feel natural to you, or you believe they don't quite reach your inner critic at the subconscious level. If that is the case, you might try what is colloquially referred to as releasing statements. These are closely related, if not equivalent, to many exercises in self-forgiveness, and tap into the mindfulness concept of detached non-judgment. When you catch yourself thinking a negative thought like, I'm such a horrible person for getting upset, try turning it around and releasing yourself from the feeling. Instead, try, it's okay that I feel upset. Step 2, try self-acceptance. This means embracing your own perceived shortcomings as well as your character strengths. Morgado et al., 2014. Self-compassion is not overinflating these shortcomings into a definition of who we are. Rather, thoughts and feelings are behaviors and states. Neff 2010. And step 3, practice mindfulness. Harvard Health Beat 2019 suggests that mindfulness practices are a good way to center ourselves in the moment. Not only is mindfulness one of self-compassion's core constructs, but a lot of exercises such as yoga and deep breathing can be used anytime, anywhere. Christian Neff also recommends guided nurturing meditations, including body scans and a short self-compassion break. And step 4, try not to judge yourself too quickly. Another tip from DiPiro is to stop assuming you'll behave a certain way. It's easy to assume things like, I get really grumpy and antisocial on flights, which sometimes precludes the possibility that you'll act in a different way. This is, once again, about treating yourself as you would others, and just a future-focused way to give yourself the benefit of the doubt. The second practice is called regaining perspective. From here, we can also zoom out to remind ourselves once more that we're connected to others, that we are part of something much bigger, common humanity, and adjust our focus accordingly. Here are some tips. Let go of the need for outside validation. Author Dan Pirio, Stay Positive, The Positively Present Guide to Life, suggests that lots of our negative thinking comes from how others perceive us. If we're beating ourselves up for eating some things, for instance, a lot of that self-directed anger stems from social pressures, like the pressure to look a certain way or maintain a certain weight. Choosing not to tie our happiness to outside influences can thus be an act of self-kindness with a much larger knock-on effect. Neff 2011. If this idea is interesting to you, there's more in this self-reliance article. Number 2, reaching out to others. This might sound like the opposite of the above, but in fact, this technique is more about placing your feelings in context. When we talk with others, we realize that we're not alone in feeling pain at difficult times. It's an important part of reaffirming our sense of connectedness, reframing our perceived problems with the big picture, and building social support networks that are invaluable to our well-being. This is the reading for today, and these are the only 2 exercises I will read. As always, the link to the full article is in the show notes. As this section was an actual practice, I encourage you to re-listen to these steps for the 2 skills of number 1, becoming more self-aware, and number 2, regaining perspective. Go ahead and check out the link that's in the show notes, open the full article, reread through these, and then take some time to practice. Then perhaps take out your journal and note down your experiences of this practice. That's it for today. Thanks for being here. As always, take care of yourself and do be well. Welcome back. Now, this is the third and final section of the daily podcast. This is your silent meditation. Please find a place where you can be comfortable and undisturbed, where you can relax and spend some time with yourself for this 10-minute silent meditation. You can choose to be sitting, standing, lying down, or in whatever position makes you comfortable today. Just take some time to listen to yourself. Next, be sure that you are taking some time to be with your breath to connect with your body. Don't be disturbed or overwhelmed by your thoughts. Simply allow them to pass. Just observe them. Do not engage with your thoughts. Only be mindful of them passing as if they are drifting down a river. Use this time to connect with yourself. Whatever time of day you are listening to this, Namaste.